Heads up, this podcast contains some swearing.
Previously on Lost in Williamsburg.
Oh, for God's sake, this 200-year-old diary is making me horny.
Thank you, Thomas. It's very satisfying to hear you sing my praises.
You're right, Professor. Music is an art. It shouldn't be a competition.
We'll see about that, bottlehead.
Bird wit.
I say, Governor, you're putting them in quite the sticky situation.
Why, of all nights, was this to be the night that my headaches returned? It had been years since I had one of these spells. I had forgotten what the pain is like. But now, sitting before the stage that had been set up in the governor's palace ballroom, the pounding began. I had been fine through dinner. Maybe it was the oysters. Who knows? I just needed to relax and breathe deep. If I concentrated, I could soften the blows. I hoped.
Hello? Mother! What? What's wrong? You look miserable.
It's nothing, Cecelia. I'm just feeling a little claustrophobic. Of course I was. The ballroom was practically filled to the chandeliers with sweaty bodies, all awaiting the evening's entertainment. The cream of Williamsburg society, all chattering away like crows on crosses, and I knew them all. Seated below the portrait of King George was Benjamin Waller, that no-good clam handler who cheated Gideon out of the Porter property.
No, absolutely not. If Brandon thinks he has a claim on those slaves, he is sorely mistaken. If he tries anything, I'll take him to court faster than you can say King and Queen County.
In a prime spot next to the stage was the princess of the Pamunkey, Martha Washington, who was back home visiting a family with husband number 2, George.
No, really. You have to come visit us at Mount Vernon. Now that George and I have combined our slaves, you would not believe how much we're able to get done. How many do we have now, George? 120? 25?
And just a few rows in front of me and Cecelia were Thomas J. and Richard H., seated to either side of their beloved Professor Jobriath. I strained to hear what they were saying.
Thomas, are you sure you're feeling up to this?
I believe so, Professor.
Good. We wouldn't want a repeat performance with that dinner.
It was a great relief when Governor Fauquier took the stage and everyone finally shut up. The throbbing in my brain slowly diminished.
Ladies and gentlemen, once again I ask you for your attention. Welcome one and all to the glorious Palace Ballroom. Please feel free to make yourselves at home. My house is your house. For this one evening only, that is. And now, to aid in the digestion of our splendid dinner, I have the pleasure of presenting several special performances from some of our best local musicians. We'll begin tonight's performance with a violin piece performed by Mr. Thomas Jefferson, who spoke so eloquently at dinner. Pardon me, Thomas, I couldn't resist. Please come up.
As Thomas walked to the stage, I could tell he was not as confident as he led on. The little stammering spell I had tossed at him earlier had certainly thrown him off his game.
Thank you, Governor. It's an honor to be here. Tonight, I will be performing a piece by the great English composer George Frederick Handel. I hope I do it justice.
I've never liked that stuck-up little snot, and those vile comments he made about Cecelia last night only confirmed my opinion. I wasn't that impressed with his playing, either. When you try to be the master of every endeavor, you may find yourself coming up short now and again. Haha, you can't blame that one on me.
Thank you, Thomas. That was quite lovely. Although there was something amiss there at the end.
I do apologize, sir.
Not to worry. You did wonderfully. Please take your seat. And now we have the pleasure of hearing Mr. Richard Holcombe, who will be playing the flute. Please come up, Richard.
Even the simple act of passing each other in the aisle could not transpire without some bit of drama from those two fools.
Watch and learn, Thomas.
What a little peacock. It was obvious Richard was thoroughly enjoying being the center of attention. But I guess when you're the youngest of 15 children, attention is hard to come by.
Thank you so much, sir. I dedicate this performance to you, Governor Fauquier, so nobly leading the colony in Governor Amherst's absence.
Why, thank you, Richard. Please.
Well, I have to admit it was lovely. But I guess that's one of the benefits of being the son of Swanson Holcombe, the richest and most ruthless businessman in the entire Virginia colony. You have plenty of time to stand around practicing your instrument. Funny, though people say that half the slaves at River Grove Plantation share an uncanny resemblance to old King Holcombe, he and Richard share no features at all.
Bravo! Well done.
Wonderful, Richard. That was simply wonderful.
Thank you, sir. I'm so glad you enjoyed it.
Richard returned to his seat sporting the most condescending grin I had ever seen.
And now for one more performance. Cecelia Blackhard, the lovely young daughter of Madame Hexabeth Blackhard, will be singing and performing on the harpsichord a song she wrote herself. Mrs. Blackhard, please take your place on the stage. I'm so looking forward to hearing your song.
Well, Mother, I guess it's time to show them what the girls can do.
Good luck, dear. I was a little dismayed to see that furtive smile you flashed at Thomas on your way up to the stage. It only seemed to provoke more jabbering from the boys who were back in their seats. I could only imagine what they were whispering.
Richard, did you know that Cecelia was a musician?
I did not. I hope she does not embarrass herself too badly. Of course, the guests will be so transfixed by the ghastly birthmark they'll scarcely notice whether she's bad or good.
Idiots.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is a song inspired by the great and heavy sacrifices that the men of our colony have had to bear in order to secure the victory we celebrate tonight.
I was amazed how at home you were on that stage. You looked so beautiful. And to think you learned to play all on your own. It's kind of amazing, really.
Softly he smileth as they hear the thunder roar, sounding like a mighty cannon guarding o'er some distant shore. My country needeth me, and though all it is poor, I must do my sacred duty to the king, for I am sworn I shall fight beside my brothers in the high woods of the north, but I promise to return, sweet Isabelle. Sweet Isabelle is risen like a vision wandering the garden in the morning. Sweet Isabelle, don't worry, I'll be back before the summer's gone. Her love returneth flesh and scarred, yet somehow changed. All the joy hath fled his heart, and only discontent remains. Although I love thee, I just can't give thee my name. You deserve a better man. I have suffered too much pain. I have forged through fields of sorrow and endured the hardest rains, and always I'll protect mine Isabelle. Sweet Isabelle is floating like a vapor drifting through the garden in the moonlight. Sweet Isabelle, stop crying. One day you'll find someone else to love.
Well, that was embarrassing. I thought you were finished.
Love is a curse!
Well, I was surprised by that new ending you added, Cece. I wish you had run that by me first.
Well, that was quite lovely, Miss Blackhard. Thank you so much for performing. Now please, go and enjoy the rest of your evening.
Thank you, I will.
Once all the performances had concluded, I couldn't wait to tell you how proud I was. But you rushed off to see Thomas before I got the chance.
Thomas, what did you think? Were you surprised?
Indeed I was. I had no idea you had such musical talent. The first part of your song was wonderful, though there did seem to be some compositional errors towards the end.
Errors?
Well, don't you think that some of the notes were rather discordant?
Well, I was purposely trying some new harmonies, but perhaps your ears weren't quite prepared for them.
Oh, excuse me, Cecelia. I didn't mean to offend you. Tell me, where did you acquire your musical talent?
Well, you know that old harpsichord we have at the back of the tavern?
Yes.
Well, it just sat there for years until our servant Sophia joined the household. Turns out, she's quite a gifted musician.
Really?
Yes, she taught me everything I know. Chords, harmony, structure. Of course, Mother never would have approved of Sophia taking time away from scrubbing the floors and all that. So we'd only practice...
What's that, Cecelia?
Oh, Mother, I didn't see you coming.
I'm sorry to interrupt. What were you saying?
Thomas was just saying how surprised he was by my performance.
Surprised and delighted, I would hope. You were wonderful.
Yes, she was. Your daughter's turning into a charming young woman.
Why, thank you, Thomas. I'm surprised to hear you say that, actually.
Why would you be surprised, Mother?
Oh, Cecelia, they're playing our song. Would you do me the honor of dancing the minuet, just like we practiced?
Of course, Thomas. I've been waiting all night.
Please excuse us, Madam Blackguard.
Certainly, you two go enjoy yourselves.
Come on, let's go.
Don't forget your steps, Thomas. You two-faced codhead. In retrospect, that might not have been the best thing to say. I'm sorry about the bruise, darling.
Ready, Thomas? Now take my hand.
Like this?
Yes, just like that, Thomas. Good luck.
That Richard is as annoying as a stone in a spur wheel.
Don't let him get to you.
It's hard not to. This town is so small, there's no escaping his constant commentary.
Really, Thomas, you should learn to ignore the prattling of fools, as I have.
As you have?
Yes. You think I don't hear what people say about me? How my face is marked? I've heard it all. Oh, the poor dear, she must have fallen into a wine barrel, or... Good heavens, it's the devil's blood stain. Whatever, I just let their arrows float right by me.
I'm so sorry, Cecelia.
Even now, people are staring at us. Most of them don't even think I belong here. The poor, ugly daughter of a tavern maid. They can all go to hell as far as I'm concerned.
Cecelia?
Thomas, if I can put up with them, you can certainly handle Richard. Now, you seem a little stiff. Just relax and let the steps flow naturally.
I'm trying.
Forget your steps.
Isn't it a perfect night, Thomas? The whole room is sparkling. It's lovelier than I ever imagined.
Yes. It's a little surprising how lovely everything looks in the candlelight.
Forget your steps.
Wait, I'm getting a little confused. How did it go? Step, ball together, step...
No, you've got it all backwards. Like this. Right together, left, right, left, together.
Forget your steps.
Yes.
Now clap.
Left,
What's wrong, Thomas? You knew it perfectly before.
I don't understand. I know all the steps. We practiced them over and over.
Watch out!
What are you doing?
Don't worry about impressing the other dancers. Just focus on me.
I'm sorry, Cecelia. I just can't seem
Hey,
to
look where you're stepping.
get my legs to follow my thoughts.
It must be your nerves. Would you like to rest?
No, I'm sure I can get it right. Let's try again. Right, together, left, right, left.
Ow, my foot!
Oh, Cecelia, please excuse me. How clumsy of me.
Thomas, I do believe I am feeling tired now. Would you mind if we stopped?
Let's try one last time. Right, left,
Thomas.
together. Right.
Ow!
What are you doing?
Right,
Look
together,
out,
left,
son.
right.
Look out! Ha!
Cecelia, I'm so sorry. Are you all right?
Don't worry, I'm fine.
Are you sure, darling?
Let me help you up.
Thomas, I believe Cecelia has been greatly exaggerating your dancing skills.
I'm so terribly sorry, Mrs. Blackguard.
Well, I'm sure it was just an accident.
It was. Thomas was just out of his element.
Thomas, can I have a word with you in private now?
Certainly, Professor Jobriath. Excuse me, Cecelia.
Yes, it's fine. Go ahead.
Come on, dear, let's go fix your hair. I did feel bad for involving Cecelia in my little prank, but all she needed was some dusting off. It was almost worth it just to see the other dancers laughing at Thomas. I bet it stung quite a bit. And I'm sure you didn't enjoy your little talk with Professor Jobriath.
Thomas, what in God's name are you doing? You're embarrassing yourself and me.
I'm sorry.
First the fumbling at dinner, now this.
I don't know what to say, Professor. I'm not sure what's come over me.
How much have you had to drink, son?
Only the one glass of wine at dinner, I swear.
I'm not sure I believe you, Thomas. Please explain yourself.
I don't know. My brain has been kind of muddy tonight, and it's hard for me to focus. I keep hearing voices in my mind.
What do you mean, voices?
Well, it's like voices, or a voice, challenging me, cutting me down.
Well, Thomas, you need to get control of that voice. Stop it at once.
I will.
Now listen, the governor's display of fireworks will be starting soon. We'll go out, watch calmly, and after it's over, we'll make our leave at the earliest plausible time. And remember, I'll be watching you closely. Very closely.
Yes, sir. I feel so bad that I've disappointed you, and I'm sure Richard must be thrilled at my misfortune.
Thomas, I know this is not you. Something odd is going on. But you must overcome it. Do you think you can do that?
Yes, sir, I can.
Good. Now let's go.
After the all-too-brief display of culture in the ballroom, the partygoers returned their attention to Williamsburg's primary preoccupation, boys and their guns.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Palace Garden. Tonight, by the order of the Governor, we shall recreate, through a stirring performance of music, fireworks, and artillery, the glorious siege and the capture of the French city of Montreal. So steel your spines and gird your loins. It promises to be a spectacular display. Soldiers, take your places. Ready, aim, fire, charge!
As I should have known, all that gunfire and fanfare reignited the throbbing in my head. I had to get away. I looked around the crowd and noticed Jefferson gazing up at the sky, mouth agape. Perhaps I could play with my little puppet one more time. That would distract me. Thomas, would you mind taking a little walk with me? To someplace a little quieter?
Certainly, Mrs. Blackard. Shall we stroll through the side garden?
That's just what I was thinking.
Ma'am, I'm so sorry about earlier. The dance with Cecelia. It was completely my fault. If I caused her any embarrassment...
Don't worry, it was a minor incident. It's already forgotten.
I'm so relieved to hear that.
Don't you think the roses are lovely, especially in this bright moonlight?
Yes, they are. But it won't be much longer before a frost blackens their petals.
Oh, and look, what a charming view of all the people mingling in the ballroom.
Yes, it's quite evocative.
It's odd, don't you think, standing out here in the darkness, watching all those people inside enjoying themselves? They seem so far away.
Not so very far away, I think.
And look, here on the window, a tiny tree frog is taken in the view as well.
Yes. Hyalocinaria, I believe.
What now?
Oh, it's the new system of scientific identification. Every living creature is now being given a unique and precise name. You can never truly know a thing until you've determined its binomial nomenclature.
Oh, how clever you sound. If only you were so well-spoken at dinner.
Yes, that was, not my finest moment.
So, Hyalocinaria. Such a big name for such a little fellow. And what a noise it makes, too. Listen, it's all you can hear. All around us. Thousands of these small, insignificant beings chirping away. It's quite maddening.
I find their calls fascinating.
Well, you would, wouldn't you? But I can't stand them. They remind me of muck and dampness. Sometimes I wish I could just get rid of them all. Even though, in some ways, I'm strangely drawn to them.
But you can't get rid of them all. Their numbers are endless.
You can always try. Come here, little fellow. Let me pull you off that window. Beautiful, but also disgusting. Graceful, but slimy.
And quite delicate.
Yes, Thomas, their numbers are endless. But there is one way to get rid of them.
There is? And what's that?
One at a time. It may take a very, very long time, but with persistence, you can get rid of all the things that plague you.
Please don't hurt it, madam.
Come here, little one. Let me get a closer look at you. So small. So fragile. I could just...
Mrs. Blackard!
Oh, dear. Why on earth did I do that?
How could you?
It tasted awful, but so strangely satisfying.
But why? Why would you...
Oh, don't pretend to be shocked, Thomas. We both know that the life of that little frog was of no consequence. We are the masters of this world, and we shall say who lives and dies. Don't you agree?
I would never presume to know such things. That is the Lord's judgment alone.
Perhaps. But I think I've kept you too long. We should return to the party. And let's just forget the little incident with the frog, all right? Forget.
As you wish, Mrs. Blackard.
After that awkward conversation, I really needed a drink, just to get rid of that horrible frog taste if nothing else. So odd. I'm not really sure what madness overtook me in that rose garden, but at least my headache was gone.
Whew, Hexabeth has gone from crazy but sexy to just plain crazy. Funny thing is, at least she had a life. If I kept a diary, it'd be the most boring thing in the world. Jesus, Dale, when did your life become so goddamn lame? Let's see. We were just about to head back into the palace when Richard showed up looking for Thomas.
You have been listening to the locally sourced audio drama Lost in Williamsburg. Tonight's episode was entitled Let's Dance. This evening's cast included Colleen Kennedy as Hexabeth Blackhard, Cassandra Glaspie as Cecelia Blackhard, Aaron Roberts as the singing voice of Cecelia Blackhard, Mark Hutchens as Thomas Jefferson, John Shuey as Richard Holcombe, Frederick Corney as Professor JobriathTimothy Costelloe as Governor Fauquier, Paul Hellyer as the partygoer, Charles Bush as Benjamin Waller, Amber Spivey as Martha Washington, Dylan Morgan as the orator, and Will Hausman as Dale Souter. Tune in again next week as the story continues.
Jessie, oh my gosh. Come in, please.
So, Margaret, I have something for you.
I feel like such a rube living here in the colonies sometimes.
Oh, hello, Professor Jobriath. You startled me.
I noticed you talking to Thomas a minute ago.
Lost in Williamsburg is written, directed, scored, and produced by Philip Merritt, in between gardening chores and cribbage matches. Many of the sound effects were made possible through Creative Commons audio clips from places like freesound.org, and thank God for that. If Philip had to go out and record every last cannon blast and horse whinny, the show would never get done. Thank you for listening. This is your host, Caroline Corney, saying, relax. No frogs were injured during the production of this episode, and please don't try eating them at home. Good night.